For me, it's very significant because of what Shamina said earlier in her prayer. She talked a little bit about the fact that this peace that we're talking about begins from within. It begins from within because if you don't have inner peace, there is absolutely no way that you can express it to the community. Today we are also recognizing the incident that happened a couple months ago, almost, at least a month and a few weeks ago, with Officer Benjamin being gunned down in our streets. The first police officer on St. Martin that has been killed in the line of duty. And that touched the community deeply. And even in me in particular, because of the fact that being someone that was born on this island and was raised by a real community, I understand from within, as Shamina said, what that peace is about. It is not the fact that you will be able to solve all problems, because problems do exist, but that peace that has been placed in me by the community of Phillipsburg when I was growing up, and the community of Cul-de-Sac for a person like Ms. Richardson, and the community of St. Peter's for some of my friends that I've been to school with in Corby, and so on and so forth. That peace that has been instilled in us as St. Martiners still exists today. Doesn't matter the function or the responsibilities that we hold. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of the fact that every single time all of us will come to a moment, whether it's in a day, a month, a year, in this period that we live, to express that peace that has been deposited in us. And I'm saying this in particular to the youngsters because I am standing here today not because of all that I have done in my life to be able to be appointed to the office of a minister, but I am standing here today understanding that all that was done for me by the community, by the elders in our community, I pledge myself to you.
Rock the house. This right here is a dedication to all my West Indian Guru darlings. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I want what I need. I need what I want. Want what I need. I need what I want. Want what I need. Need what I want. Want what I need. I need what I want. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. West Indian girl is the best. I will never settle for less. And some of them with some big backside and some of them with that chest. Fast skinny tall up with it. I find out all your sweet. I'll take you back to my hotel suite and make you wine to the beat. Looking good from your head to your feet. I'll get you in my shit. And all of them be sucking sugar cane. That's why they had their white teeth. When I find my West Indian girl, that's when I will be complete. I want a West Indian girl. That's what I want for me. I need a West Indian girl. That's what I need for me. I want a West Indian. I need a West Indian. I want a West Indian. I need a West Indian. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I want what I need. I need what I want. Want what I need. I need what I want. Want what I need. Need what I want. Want what I need. I need what I want. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. I need a West Indian girl. I want a West Indian girl. Wanna step inside and defend. Trapping up with no regret. And if you see me whining with your girl, don't take it as a disrespect. I can never be a poppy show. Rock the house and yes, I got dough. I'll take her on as a go. I'll rest you like a bobo. Listen to me cause that's it so. Wind up fast, wind up slow. Wind up fast, wind up slow. And look how the girls winding.
Wow. What a lovely area to be in today. First, let me begin by saying thank you. Thank you to Sport St. Martin for this initiative. All the inclusive historical and the exclusive historical representations of St. Martin's first home evokes a feeling of comfort and prestige. It is a nice reconstruction of a historical environment, which I think a straightforward indicator of culture and history as we see here with this area today. While I acknowledge the economic and beautification purposes of this square, I want to go a little deeper into the symbolism, heritage, vision, and meaning of the past that is inscribed into this landscape. There is a cultural importance of place naming in the study of our heritage. Naming is a powerful vehicle for promoting identification with the past and locating oneself within the extensive network of memory. For example, the passing on of surnames from one generation to the next is an important symbol of personal heritage and culture. Just as surnames serve as a roadmap to the past, it guides us through an individual ancestry, an archive of one's traditional group, affiliation, and cultural ties. The official naming of this square today serves the same manner whereby St. Martiners and others can use this as a roadmap to identity with our past, locating themselves within networks of our memories, which will promote heritage and culture. We can learn a lot and adapt a lot from the way Mr. Walter Williams, affectionately known as Plans, lived his life, especially within the community, whereas he, as a legend fisherman and hunter, shared his experience with the youngsters. And many times he would go beyond and serve persons within the community during the evening hours as they assembled to commune in a way that brought joy, peace, and camaraderie amongst themselves. Mr. Walter Williams, Mr. Plants, was a selfless man who learned and loved his neighbor as he did himself and lived by this example. As an artist of culture, Mr. Plant's contribution to society, especially to the Dong Street community, was that of a culture craftsman, whereby he used his natural talents to bring his people together, creating a sincere sense of unity and respect amongst each other. He created a culture amongst the youngsters of this community, Dong Street community. And I'm proud to say that I know this firsthand because of getting the stories from my uncle, Mr. Clinton Gums, known as Magic, as he was one of those fortunate youngsters to be taught the teachings of Mr. Plants. And I asked him, I said, Uncle, tell me something memorable that you learned from Mr. Plants. And he said, everything. Everything as a person that I am today, I learned from Mr. Plants. From building fish pots to building buildings.
Vitamalt takes care of you. And now, check under the marked caps for a chance to win prizes. More detail on press.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas really easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation, that's no problem. Yes, it's true.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I have been a minister. I have seen ministers come into this hall and been questioned by by Parliament. I have seen the honorable member of Parliament in a capacity as Prime Minister come into this hall and be questioned, and has asked the indulgence of Parliament to give her 2-3 weeks to come back and answer. I don't see the relevance of having one question answered today and then coming back later to answer it. You get your questions answered and then you present them to Parliament the way Parliament has asked them, as a list of questions. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
If you begin to dissect, answers and questions, it becomes a public spectacle, and that's something that I really wouldn't want to indulge in. I feel, Mr. Chair, that if questions are asked, and I'm giving it's of course it's up to you. I'm giving the time to respond to these questions, and the questions can be answered within a reasonable time. Then that is what I'm asking. So.
Thank you. Minister Clara Connor. Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
MP Sarah Westcott Williams.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the several members of Parliament, I need to pause for the public to understand what is happening. And at this point in time, Mr. Chairman, I know we do have a quorum, so I may continue with your indulgence. And I wanted to make the statement that several members of Parliament, because of their previous positions, have made very, very clear statements in this meeting of Parliament. Members who have held the position of ministers, and some even going as far back as commissioners. However, with the question that I just posed remaining unanswered, the position that those members, coincidentally to my left and my right, have put forward actually is establishing that there is something that is not kosher. Hence my question for the minister to be clear, because we have understood from predecessors of the minister that there are certain things in place, that there are contracts in place. And if the minister cannot confirm that at this time, until I hear otherwise, I'm going to stick with the stories from my two colleagues, one to my left and one to my right. And again, don't answer Parliament if the minister feels he cannot, but answer to the people of St. Martin. And I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Sarah Westcott Williams. The minister feels that he's not able to answer those questions now, then I have to honor that, and so I will postpone this meeting until we receive the answers from the minister, and then we will proceed as quickly as we could to convene another meeting.
The coalition has shown again that they're not prepared to be open, honest, and transparent with the public of St. Martin by not giving the minister the opportunity to basically shed some light on the all-important question as to where are we in this process. Are there negotiations? Is there a contract that is being worked out? Are they working on details of a contract? But to have a number of members of the coalition walk out, hoping that it would have left us without a quorum, did not work. But it shows that they either have something to hide or they're not willing to be honest and forthcoming with the public of St. Martin. But as the old people say, you can run, but you can't hide. They can run, and whether it takes 1 week or 2 more weeks, the minister would still have to come back to Parliament and answer to that very important question and all other questions pertaining to this. It is clear that not all the members supporting the coalition have left, and it is important that while it would be considered that I am a member of the opposition, so therefore I am saying that things have been in place when I left office. The immediate past minister who is supporting this government, who is now MP Maurice Lake, has clearly questioned the minister on what is it that is happening. He is not just questioning this minister, but he's questioning the policy carried out by the Minister of Rome ad interim of the past, Prime Minister Marcel Gomes, in terms of what it is that government has been busy with, because plans were there and everything was according to him in place, while he did not divulge what they were. But I know what I had done and what I had left in place. And if that was carried out after I had left office by the ministry then, for sure we would not be in the situation that we are in. I did not profess that it will all go away in one day, but one thing for sure, we would stop the growing of the dump, and the cleaning of the dump would have started systematically as well. One of the issues that we strongly disagree with the present course that they are under is that it will have to cost money. In the terms of reference that we had put together, that went on public bid, and we had 11 companies that had registered to participate in the bid, and we narrowed it down to 6 companies, I believe it was at the time. It was clear that it came with zero investment to government, and if you wanted to include GB, zero investment to GB in terms of participation in it. It had to be that the company had to come with a proven technology and with their own financing, and they would be given a concession. So this whole new story that government and or GB would have to invest a substantial amount of money in purchasing, it would sound like a waste energy plant, is absolutely not necessary. And if I would tie in here, it was the same approach that we had applied with the idea of building a tunnel. There is a bridge that has cost and is costing the population of St. Martin millions through the harbor, and one would say, yes, but it's the harbor paying for it. No, it's the consumers of St. Martin paying for it through the increase in containers, fees, and therefore on all things in stores and supermarkets, the prices have gone up. And the throughput fee, and therefore the price of electricity have gone up. But in our approach with the tunnel, we would give a company a concession to build, own, and operate a tunnel. And if you want to use it, pay for it. If the French want to drive through it, they pay for it. If a tourist want to drive through it, they pay for it. But the lady in Dutch Quarter, Middle Region, or Simpson Bay that chooses not to use the tunnel won't have to pay for it. But with the bridge, every living creature on St. Martin is paying through his nose for the tunnel via the increase in cost of living that we have had. But back to this topic, we believe that the minister lost a great opportunity to show to the people of St. Martin that he is prepared to be open, transparent, and have nothing to hide. Our reports indicate that the minister left the island on Saturday and was part of a delegation, and it is just by sheer coincidence, if we would listen to the statements made by the leader of the OP, that he happened to be in Miami and he gave the minister a drive and they visited certain areas, and that he was seemingly invited to tag along to see a presentation by a company. These things are what are reasons why people have to criticize government for not being open, not being truthful, not being honest, and definitely not being transparent with the people of
been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas real easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
Now we look at the complaints investigated. Very important action in 2014 is that the Ombudsman for the first time made use of the competence provided for by law to inform Parliament immediately upon closing the investigation of a case regarding findings and the decision. This action was taken due to continued disregard by Cadastre of the laws of the land. Notwithstanding elaboration by the Ombudsman on the complaint in the Central Committee upon invitation of Parliament, no further follow-up action to this report and an earlier report regarding the outcome of a systemic investigation conducted by the Ombudsman about Cadastre was taken by the end of 2014. The legal basis for action by Parliament in this matter can be found in the National Ordinance establishing Cadastre as a private foundation executing government tasks regarding the measuring of land, establishing boundaries of properties, issuing certificates of admeasurement, meetbrieven, and registration of properties on St. Martin. Mr. Chairman, considering these articles provided for by law, the Ombudsman reported to Parliament in its supervisory role towards government. As such, the Ombudsman expected Parliament to query the Minister whether he acted pursuant to Article 4, Section 2 and 3 of the National Ordinance establishing Cadastre in order to acquire information on the status of the recommendations issued in the systemic report submitted in 2012 and the outcome of same. Or for Parliament to directly request copies of the reports regarding the general affairs, development of activities, and financial matters of the Foundation Cadastre as provided for by Article 4 of the law. By the end of the calendar year 2014, Mr. Chairman, 43% of the total amount of recommendations, which were 62 in total, provided to the ministries were followed. A follow-up status update of the implementation of recommendation issued was not received from all ministries after the elections in 2014. Government was reminded of its legal obligation provided for by law to timely and fully respond to and cooperate with investigations conducted by the Ombudsman regarding grievances of the public, including following up on recommendations issued by the Ombudsman to better serve the public. Failure, members of Parliament, to do so by the ministries undermines the Constitution of St. Martin from within. This is not becoming of a democratic state. Let's look at, as the Ombudsman is guardian of the Constitution, no new cases were brought forward to the Constitutional Court in 2014. However, the first decision made by the Constitutional Court was kept alive. We see, for example, that in an article entitled Constitutionele Toetsing in the West, Constitutional Review in the West, which appeared in the Nederlands Juristenblad, the authors applaud St. Martin for having a constitutional court. They are of the opinion that the first verdict is not only interesting because of its content, but that the Netherlands may take example of how constitutional review may be applied. The authors of the article argue that the judgment answers potential future questions to the court in the Netherlands, such as the compatibility of a life prison sentence with the European Convention of Human Rights.